And then we had Adam Cole against Malakai Black. I watched this match, and I could not help but feel sad. I had forgotten about their match at TakeOver in Philadelphia. I asked the question a couple weeks ago, have these guys had a match before? I just couldn't remember. I thought it had to happen in NXT, but I couldn't remember where or when it happened. It was in Philadelphia at TakeOver back in 2018. And I think part of the reason why I didn't remember it is because when I think of that TakeOver Philadelphia show, I instantly always think of Johnny Gargano against Andrade, which is one of the greatest NXT matches of all time. And it overshadowed everything else on that show for me. But I went back and I watched that match. WWE had posted it some time ago, the full match on their YouTube channel. And I'm watching these guys and watching them pre-injury, because they have both had serious injuries since then. Watching Malakai Black when he was still super over, and he had big star written all over him. Like everybody was talking Tommy End, man. He's gonna go to WWE. He's gonna be the next big thing. And for the longest time in NXT, he was. They gave him that spectacular entrance. He had great music. I mean, the stuff with him and Velveteen Dream, that great little feud they had. You could just tell this guy was a huge star in the making. And you look at that and you remember that, and you see how he's been used in AEW. Seeing what a great match these two had and how hot the crowd was for it back then. And then watching this, where the crowd sat on their hands outside of, some of the big spots, sat on their hands and were completely quiet. And the reason they were quiet is because I thought the match was pretty boring and plotting for the most part. I mean, this should have felt like a much bigger deal, and it just wasn't. I also hated that Adam Cole kicked out of the end kick. They had protected that finish, so the fact that Cole kicked out of it, you would think the crowd would react big. Like, holy shit, he kicked out of the kick. Not only did they barely react to it, you could hear some people booing. I was one of those people. I wasn't in the building, but I was booing. And I guarantee you that the booing, and again, not everybody was booing, but the booing, that was not the reaction they were hoping for. The dead silence was not the reaction they were hoping for. They tried to tell a story here. Early on, Black had the chance to target the surgically repaired ankle. He refused. He refused to take the easy route. He didn't want to take a shortcut. Later on, he hit the end. Cole kicked out. And when Black tried to get to his feet, he couldn't, and he collapsed back to the mat. So instead, he sat cross-legged, and he basically allowed Adam Cole to hit him with the boom. Finish me off. Put me out of my misery. Which he did. And Adam Cole pinned Malakai Black. Not much of a reaction to that either. After the match, Cole thanked him and offered a handshake. Black hugged him instead. And then as Black was heading up the ramp, Cole put him over as one of the best that he's ever been in the ring with, and the crowd gave Malakai a very nice ovation. This felt a little like maybe he was on his way out. Whether his career was going to end. I didn't look at it as his career might be over. I looked at it as, I wonder if he's on his way out of the company. And so I can't fault people for coming away with that impression if they watch this. And believe me, people did. And Malakai noticed, and it upset him to the point that he posted a video on Instagram about it to refute the rumors. And in the video, he said, "I'm not injured, nor am I retiring, nor am I leaving. I feel this happens every match I have, and I don't understand how many times you're going to say these things, and then them not happening, and people are still going to fall for that. I have not been injured in more than 3 years. And I'm referring to my back injury, of course, and I only posted about that after it was already done. And if you would have read the post, you would have seen that and not read what other people have written about it. I'm fine. I've been fine for the longest time. I would really appreciate it if that stuff stops. If I'm going to retire, you're going to hear it from me, and not after Adam just cuts a promo as a thank you for the match, because that's all it was. So thank you." I think he should be happy that people even give a shit anymore. Honestly. He's been mostly a non-factor in this company for the past 3 years. And I'm not saying that's all his fault. I'm not saying that some of it isn't, but I'm not saying that's all his fault. Like he said, he had a very serious back injury for a while. That was years ago, though. That does not explain why he is not doing more than they have him doing. That does not explain why, if he wasn't hurt, Tony Khan had him doing trios and tags and hardly any singles matches. He is not a tag team wrestler. I know he's been part of a tag team. I don't mean that, like literally. But I don't look at him as a tag team wrestler. He's not a tag team wrestler. He's not a trios wrestler. He built his name on the independent scene and in WWE as a singles wrestler. And as a singles wrestler, he gained the most notoriety in his career as Aleister Black. When he first came to AEW, he pinned Cody Rhodes. In his debut, he squashed him in under 5 minutes. It wasn't a squash in the way that Brody Lee beat Cody for the TNT title, but when you pin Cody Rhodes in 4.5 minutes or whatever it was, that's about as close to a squash as you can get. And you know what happened after that? He pinned him again at Grand Slam. His run there got off to a very promising start, and then it just fell off a cliff. And maybe that's when the back injury came into play. I don't know the timetable on that, but ever since then, he has been a total non-factor. And all of the people who thought when he came in, this guy has world champion potential. What a loss for WWE. Those people have been made to look like complete fucking idiots. And I'll own it because I was one of those people. So yes, I can understand why he would be frustrated that fans keep writing him off, thinking that this is the end for him. But the fact that he even still has fans that are that invested to even care, he should be thankful for that. You know, he dances around it every time he posts a video like this. He did this once before and he said, I don't know why I'm not doing more singles matches. I'm not the guy you need to be asking that question. That was basically his answer. Don't look at me. He basically said, talk to Tony Khan without actually coming out and saying, talk to Tony Khan. Here, he says, I'm not hurt. I haven't been hurt. I haven't been hurt in more than 3 years. But he can't come out and say anything more than that because he works for Tony. And Tony is the one booking him. I get it. You're not going to come out and shit on your boss. But it's frustrating for the fans to see all of the potential that he had to be a top guy just get flushed down the toilet. Jim Ross, just this week on his podcast, said that his last conversation with Malakai a couple of pay-per-views ago, he didn't straight up say it to JR, but he detected that Black was, as he put it, he was a little disenchanted. Yeah, you don't say. I'd be a little more than disenchanted if I were in his boots. But I'm not. So I'm not going to waste my time protesting over this anymore, but that lack of consistency and that lack of any kind of real singles push is why you felt the indifference that the audience had during most of this match. Because had his career gone a different way, had he gone right instead of left, I don't mean, like not coming to AEW. I mean in AEW, had Tony taken him right instead of left or left instead of right, maybe today we'd be sitting here watching Dynamite and a Malakai Black Adam Cole match, and Malakai Black would be on the level of someone like a Kenny Omega the way he's pushed, or an MJF or a Will Ospreay the way they're pushed, or even a Swerve. He never got that chance. At the very beginning, again, it looked very promising, and he ended up going a different way. And I don't think it's because of a lack of talent. I don't think it's because he was exposed. He's not as good as people said he was. I think he is. It just didn't go that way. The reaction in this match would have been very, very different, though, because he would have been a very different type of star for them. But now he is where he is. And that indifference that I mentioned, it's more than just Adam Cole against Malakai Black. It's not just an Adam Cole against Malakai Black problem. That's a problem with AEW in general right now. So Cole has now beaten Buddy Matthews and Malakai Black. You would think that he would need to just beat Brody King now to get his match with MJF at Full Gear, but you would be wrong. Not only is he not wrestling Brody King, They're changing the entire stipulation that MJF laid out a few weeks ago. Here, Cole said that he's got 1 win left to go, and Roderick Strong, right, his good friend, he's got 2 more wins to go. With the idea that if they both can get to 3 consecutive victories, what happens then? Well, he talked to Tony Khan, and at Full Gear, it would be a triple threat match with Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and MJF. And he's guaranteed to get the ass kicking of a lifetime, courtesy of the Undisputed Kingdom. Let me ask you a question. Why would it be a triple threat match and not a handicap match? Aren't they both interested in the same thing? I mean, he just said it in the promo. Like, MJF is guaranteed the ass kicking of a lifetime, courtesy of the Undisputed Kingdom. They're both interested in the same thing. They're both part of the same group, right? They both want to kick MJF's ass. There's no title on the line. Why would it even be billed as a triple threat? It would be a fucking handicap match. Why is Roderick Strong even involved in this? I don't give a shit about Roderick Strong against MJF. The story is MJF and Adam Cole. So this whole thing is a mess. Originally, it was Cole and Roddy would each have the chance to win 3 matches, and whoever reached 3 wins first would get MJF in the ring at Full Gear, which is why I've been saying for weeks, it's going to come down to MJF forcing Adam Cole and Roderick Strong to wrestle each other. And the winner of that match would wrestle MJF at Full Gear. So either Max misspoke, which I don't think he did, or they just changed the direction in mid-storyline. You know, a triple threat probably means Roddy would be turning on Adam Cole. But a triple threat also means that Adam Cole is going to have to win his next match. And his next match is going to be against the international champion, Konosuke Takeshita. The same Konosuke Takeshita who lost on Dynamite this week. He got pinned in the main event by Ricochet in a tag team match. So you're going to have Takeshita eat 2 losses back-to-back weeks? The only acceptable outcome then, if you're going to beat him, is to have the Callis family get involved for the DQ. Because if they pin Takeshita 2 weeks in a row, then I want what Tony Khan is smoking. I should also note that after Cole won, they cut to a pre-tape of MJF from inside his evil lair at home, all upset, and he pulled out his phone and he dialed somebody and he told this mystery person, I need you to pay someone a visit. And my first thought was, it's Wardlow, isn't it? Oh, God, tell me they're not just going to end up putting Wardlow back with MJF after all this.